What's up, core reporters, and welcome back to my channel. It's time for a recap of what went down on Love is Blind UK Season 1, Episode 6. Unfortunately, it looks like some of the cracks are starting to show in Catherine's relationship with Freddie. Will they make it? Only time will tell. But before we get to that, let's start off at the very top of the episode. It's morning time, and Olly is back to reassuring Demi about their connection. She was a little bit insecure after he stepped out to discuss things with Catherine, and it appeared as though they were flirting and everything like that. And now here he is having to reassure his fiance that he is still madly in love with her. Now, I started to notice some cracks in Tom and Maria's relationship as well, because there's a moment where they're just sitting there over lunch or something, and he asks Maria if she thinks that people would assume that like they go together well, like they suit each other when they look at them. And I was like, ooh, like, are you asking because you're kind of worried that that is the issue between the two of you guys, that you guys do not visually pair well? Very, very interesting question. To be honest with you guys, I kind of do understand why he's asking that, because I kind of feel like she is just this like wonderful, lively, like stunning, stunning woman. And Tom, he's an attractive man, but he's kind of like a mayo sandwich next to her. You know what I mean? So, like, I get why he's asking. I feel like he's missing that oomph, that je ne sais quoi, and I get it. Now, I thought it was also very sweet. Turning over to Nicole and Ben, I thought it was really sweet how they spoke about their like mutual desire to take things slow when it comes to the physical side of their relationship. No need to rush. Listen, no judgment to the people who rush into the bed the first night, like they've been connecting for a while. They have like no access to like communication with anyone else. Like it's just the two of them in their world. So I definitely understand why they hop in the sack quickly. But I do like admire the way that Ben and Nicole are on the same page about like slowing down and waiting for that side of their relationship. Now, back to Katherine and Freddie. Here we go, you guys. She tells him that sometimes she doesn't feel like she's good enough for him. And he tells her, like, why do you feel that way? I tell you every day that you are absolutely beautiful. But the thing about like amazing compliments like that is that, like, if you don't personally feel it about yourself on the inside or whatever, it's hard for you to like absorb it and really take it to heart when, beautiful people in your life, like Freddie or like whoever, are telling you on the outside. And so Kat tries to explain that to him. And, it sucks. She says that that's the way she always is, like even in other relationships she just feels that way. Then at this point she decides to ask Freddie if he has ever cheated in past relationships, and he says yeah, he's cheated one time. He didn't let the girl know that he had cheated on her. She had to find out on her own, which is very devastating for the girl. And Kat is obviously disappointed in that answer. I gotta be honest, like cheaters are an ick for me too, like a deal breaker. I don't like that type of behavior. So I totally get where she's coming from with this. And it would make me very suspicious of Freddie's behavior, where you're like acting like you're so nice, you're so caring, you're so thoughtful, and you weren't forthcoming with this information. You had to have this asked of you, and like now it's like, okay, well, is this the real you, or is this an act that you're putting on? Because I imagine your ex-girlfriend felt this way about you and your relationship, just to find out on her own, mind you, that you were cheating on her behind her back, right? So Freddie then takes the opportunity to return the question to Kat, and she says that she has never cheated, and she believes that once a cheater, always a cheater, and she's been cheated on in every single one of her past relationships. And I was like, girl, what kind of men are you out here dating? Because like I get it if you've been cheated on like once or whatever, but every single time, like there's something going on with like, your taste in men. Yeah, not to blame her, of course, but I do find that that is a rather alarming statistic on her end as well. Or are UK men just like trash like that? Because remember, I think it was episode 3 or 4, I was like starting to learn, I think it was episode 2 or 3 actually, that like a lot of these men on this show, like they've got like deadbeat dads, you know what I mean? So maybe it is just like a lack of quality men. I don't know. If you're in the UK, if you're in London, let me know in the comment section down below if the times really are that tough out there, you poor things. So Freddie, yeah, he asked her the question. She says no. And at this point, you can see that she's like, her trust and her like faith in him and like his kindness has like definitely dropped. And I don't blame her. Like, I would be skeptical of someone like that too. Now, let's get on over into Olly. Okay, you guys. he really seems to have formed some kind of a bromance with Bobby, wait, he has a bromance with Bobby, but here he's talking with Ben about how he notices that like all the other couples are super duper affectionate, but when it comes to him and his relationship with Demi, they're not like that at all. And so sometimes he's asking himself if there's something like wrong or something going on in his relationship, like if something's missing. But nonetheless, he claims to be happy, which I'm kind of like, are you really happy if you're asking these kinds of questions, or are you trying to convince yourself that you are happy? Because I feel like we've all been there, you know? I'm getting kind of nervous for Demi. Speaking of Demi, she and Katherine talk things out, right? After the time that Katherine was speaking with her fiance and everything looked to be like kind of like flirty. They hash things out, and then like at the end of the conversation, they try to do a cheers. And I felt like Kat had a lot of nerve to be like, "Oh, Demi, let's cheers to you, like finally looking happy in your relationship. I want you to start looking happy in your relationship." And it's like, Kat, not everyone wants to put on appearances the way that you do. Like maybe you look happy in your relationship, right? And that's why you're hosting this cheers. Meanwhile, you're not all that happy in your relationship. In fact, you don't really trust your fiance all that much because he cheated on a girlfriend in the past. So don't do it. Don't do it. You know, coming out here talking about act happy, look happy, blah blah. Meanwhile, you're not all that happy in yours either. Like, God, you know. Anyway, now Olly, meanwhile, he moves over and starts talking to Bobby, who is the guy that I believe he's got like a really good friendship with, almost like a bromance level. And he says that he's feeling very overwhelmed, you know, when it comes to like his relationship and all of the outside opinions about his relationship and stuff like that. And at this point, Bobby's fiance, Jasmine, comes over on a mission. And I gotta say, I love Jasmine. You guys know I really, really, really adore this girl. I think she's amazing. I think she's beautiful. I think she's smart. I think she's everything, right? But this episode, I was so, so, so disappointed in the way in which like she behaved. Like she was totally overstepping her bounds as a friend there. I know she was doing all of this to protect Demi, but she very well could have ruined Demi's relationship with like her aggressive nature here, right? So she just plops herself in between Bobby and Olly, and she just starts like railing. She's like, "Olly, so are you happy in your relationship? Do you want to be with her? Yes or no?" And then Olly's trying to explain that like he loves Demi and everything, but like he's feeling really overwhelmed right now, like in this moment. And so instead of just giving him the space and dropping the subject, she's like, "Well, there's nothing to be overwhelmed about if you like her. If you're feeling her, and you won't be overwhelmed. It's an easy thing, blah, blah, blah." And it's like, Jasmine, that's the way you feel, right? And you are a different person from Olly. You're even wearing different outfits. So, like, you don't need to do all of this. This is not your man. And I know you like Demi a lot, but you know, Demi, you and Demi have known each other for a couple of weeks. So let's calm it down here, you know? It really just, it was a lot, right? And so she just keeps on badgering him about his feelings for Demi. And Olly could very well be someone who just doesn't really feel comfortable expressing their emotions like that in front of other people, like to Demi. And Demi has already told us that when it's the two of them, like he really is like that person. Like he reassures her, he tells her he loves her and everything like that. Like, and that's between the two of them. He doesn't need to make his declarations to you. All you need to do is worry about your relationship with Bobby, which, by the way, I'm totally rooting for. So I hope that you do not, like, you know, ruin your relationship with Bobby by spending all your time worrying about what's going on between Olly and Demi, right? And yeah, so she basically tells Olly, "Listen, like Demi is not the same person that I knew her in the pause. Girl, you knew her in the pause a couple of days ago. You don't know the totality of her personality. You've never seen her with a man. This is your first time seeing her with a man. So maybe she's just one of those girls where when they're with the man, they're just a little bit different, like a little bit more reserved, a little bit something, you know, different. You know what I mean? So it was a lot, you know. Now, I did start to wonder, like, why everyone was so involved in this relationship. I feel like there are other relationships where the cracks are starting to show and whatnot, yet they're so focused on, like, getting to the bottom of Olly and Demi. Meanwhile, Olly and Demi are not really doing anything to indicate that they've got, like, problems. They're not, like, publicly fighting, like, you know, like, it's just a little odd. But then later on, I noticed something which is rather interesting. It's that the two of them were, like, in different places this entire like outing day. Like all the other couples, like, yeah, they'll mingle with other people, but they'll still be like kind of attached at the hip and everything like that, right? Like checking back in with each other and everything like that. But you never really saw that with Olly and Demi. And so I guess that might be something that people were kind of like picking up on and wanting to say, like, is this legit? Are you just trying to like drag this on for TV time or stuff like that? I don't know. It's very interesting. Now, Demi does decide to come over to kind of help Ollie out and like to diffuse the situation, get him out of it. And I thought she did a wonderful job. Like she's like, hey, like let's go for a walk, which is perfect because you're glued in between your friend over here and his fiance who's just barking at you and everything like that, demanding all this information out of you. Like, and here comes your wonderful, beautiful, like nice, calm, amazing fiance to extract you from that nightmare situation. And what does Ollie do? He shuts down. He says, no, I don't want to go for a walk. Dude, she was giving you an out. She doesn't even want to talk about this stuff. She just wants to help you, like, get out of this situation that's obviously overwhelming to you, Like, she really did an amazing job there. And I was really happy, though, when Bobby was like, okay, well, if you don't want to go for a walk, then, like, we'll leave, which is, like, good because Jasmine was not about to. I think Jasmine wanted to be there for that conversation so that she could put in her 2 cents as if it's the most important 2 cents out there and everything like that. So I really love that, like, Bobby, like, kind of got her away from that situation. So at this point, we've got Demi and Ollie left together alone, and he tells her about being accosted by Jasmine, and he says that he just wants to go home at this point, and he's done with this SHIT. And I felt like, oh my God, does that mean like he's dumping her and he's going like home like that? Like, no, this is so unfair to Demi. Demi didn't do anything to him. Yeah, like maybe Jasmine was a little bit hostile with him, but like that doesn't mean you throw away a beautiful love connection with Demi just to like, get back at her for that, right? I really genuinely thought that he was going to leave. Like, I felt terribly for Demi. I was like, no, don't let this be the case. But the next morning, like, they wake up in their villa, they go outside by the water, and he tries to tell her that, like, the atmosphere in general is what is just, like, being very taxing on him and their relationship. And I totally understand what he's talking about. And it seems like he's kind of asking her to continue this relationship off camera. And so Demi suggests, like, listen, we don't have that much time here. I think we've got like a day left or a couple hours left here. Let's ride this out. And then when we go back to London and we have to like live together in the apartment, let's work on things there. And I was like, yes, girl, that's exactly the way that you should handle this. Like little micro steps for him and, for yourself as well, because this can't be good for her because everyone's like kind of acting like her relationship is garbage. You know what I mean? Like these people who are not even all that happy in their own relationships, cough, cough, are out here trying to play expert on yours. Like, stop, So I do think it was going to be great for them to be able to get into their own little apartment away from all of the judgment, right? Now, let's get into those people who want to give you expert advice on your relationship while they're miserable in their own. Here comes Kat and Freddie again, right? So Freddie starts crying to one of his friends about how Kat has been really mean towards him ever since he like let her know that he had cheated on an ex-girlfriend. And she tells him, listen, like, okay, like, it's okay. I'm sorry I was mean to you, but like these ups and downs, these things like that, these like moments of like tenseness happen within long-term relationships and stuff like that. Don't worry, I'm not automatically leaving you. I just want to let you know that like we're having issues and it's fine, we got to work through them, right? And he just keeps on crying, and I was like, I don't know. At this point, I'm starting to wonder about Freddie, especially after that cheating revelation. I'm like, is he just like a wonderful performer? Because it's a lot, you guys. I don't know. I genuinely worry that he's acting now because men can be very convincing on these dating shows and just turn out to be pure evil. Like Love is Blind Brazil really traumatized me. The guy I was thinking about was Italo. He went on the reunion to really drag that blonde guy who like played with that girl, Katherine or something like that. He played with her so hard. Italo tried to avenge her and then he proposes to her. Like they had been dating. He treated her like a princess. And then what do we find out? Weeks after the proposal and stuff like that, he broke the engagement because he had been cheating on her the entire time. Like, I worry that this might be a case of that. I hope I'm wrong. I'm not accusing him, but I worry. Now, speaking of good guys and sweetness, for some reason with Ben, I don't worry that he's performing. I do think that he's 100% genuine. So he and Jasmine are alone in their villa, and he reproposes, this time with a ring, because the first time he just made a declaration on his knees, marry me, baby, marry me right now or I'm dying. But this time he had a ring to present to his bride, and I thought it was beautiful. I really like this couple. They're amongst my favorite. So I want to do like another like kind of revamp on like what my favorite couples are. You guys know I really thought that these two were soulmates, but I'm not seeing it too much anymore. I'm removing them from my favorite couples list. And then another couple that I really, really loved was Sabrina and Steven. They're staying on my list, but I want to add Ben and Nicole. Before I didn't really like Ben for Nicole because he seemed a little bit on the like unestablished side, but I guess that he is just nomadic, you know, like he's got a good job, I guess, and he's got money. It's just he doesn't want to settle in a place. So for right now, Sabrina, Steven, Nicole and Ben, and Jasmine and Bob are my top 3 couples. Okay. Now, let's get into Tom. Oh, and why I don't really see it for him and Maria. This man, I feel like he likes to neg Maria. I'm sorry, like I said, Maria is like just this amazing 4-course, like, you know, what do you call it? Gastronomique, 5-star, Michelin rated, you know, restaurant of a girl and a meal. And then Tom is a mayo sandwich. There's nothing wrong with mayo sandwiches if you like mayo sandwiches, but that is what Tom is to me, right? And I feel like he recognizes that she's a total bombshell and he's just him. And again, I don't think he's ugly. I think he's just like there. So I think that he's trying to neg her because he realizes that. So first, earlier on in the episode, he's asking her if people would like, you know, think that they go suit each other well. And now here he is talking about, oh, when I heard you were a makeup artist, I got to admit, I looked down on you. And she's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? He's like, oh, well, you know, with me being a PR professional, I think I read people for a living. And I think your profession says a lot about you. And when you said you were a makeup artist, I was like, oh, she's got to be shallow. And you just know he meant to say, oh, she's uneducated. She's this, she's that, she's beneath me, you know? But basically, he's like, yeah, and in some relationships, your profession can be a deal breaker. I'm like, some more sass in it. Why don't you? Here's the thing. He's not completely wrong, okay? And I would be hypocritical to like say that he's like this terrible person, but I feel like this is stuff you say to your friends, right? You don't say this to your fiance when you're about to marry them and they're not sure if you're going to say yes or no. Like you're trying to put doubt in her mind and make her feel like she's less than you, and that's not cool. You know, because I feel like, you know, for myself, and I don't know if I want to say my, you know, I have maybe 3 to 5 professions that I just will not date, okay? And it's for varying reasons. It's not about like, oh, like I think you're like shallow or I think you're this. Like to me, there's one profession where it's like you can very easily abuse your power with the system and get away, and they've got terrible DV rates, right? There's another profession where it comes with a God complex. There's like things like this, you know, there's another profession where it's like these people are married to their job and they don't, you know, that's their holy grail. And I don't want that kind of a life. There's another profession where you're stuck in this place. And I, you know, I'm not nomadic like Ben, but I am very free to up and leave and move and vacation when I want for however long I want. And I want someone who has that kind of a lifestyle too. You know what I mean? But again, I would not tell someone that I'm with, hey, like I look down on you for your profession. I thought you were going to be shallow, this type of stuff. No, like I really don't like the way he was speaking to her. Now, anyway, you guys, this episode ends here. And yeah, I'm not feeling Tom. I don't like him. I think he's condescending. I think he's a prick. But maybe you have a different opinion. So let me know what you think about him or anything else that went down in Love is Blind UK season 1, episode 6. I am going to be filming for episodes 7 through 9 together in my next video. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I will see you in my next videos. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.